Okay. Can you guys see this? Okay, great. Awesome. Let's start with the mentality like always, guys. So building up to the close, making sure you get the minor yeses and the proper tie downs, just making sure that you can just get all that built up so that later they just say, oh my gosh, I want this service. I need your service. I need your help, Shug. I need your help, Jenny. So when you are doing a QA, how do you build up to the close? Well, first off, how you begin in the QA as how you end is really important. Honestly, in the beginning, guys, yes, you're trying to collect data throughout the presentation. Yes, you're trying to build rapport, but really in the beginning, it's all fluff. Not everyone, like in the Hispanic community or certain other communities, like Vietnamese people, we're not going to be able to do the whole presentation with them, but for the majority of people, you know, the presentation will be the main platform we're going to use. However, how you begin, how you end the QA is really important. The appointment is really starting on the phone for you, between you and that person that you're going to help get happily involved in your business. It starts on your phone when you set that QA up. What do I mean by that? That means that's when you start building rapport. So everyone knows, well, everyone should know the character reference script that we use to call the potential QA we're going to book, and also ask a little bit of questions about the new recruit, see if they have credibility, and then ask if that person's willing to help them with training. In the middle of the script, and you guys can fit this wherever you want, but I feel like when you are not as stickler on the phone with them, even when you're doing a character reference script, you can have a light, you know, some light humor on there. People are in quarantine, people are stressed out. So on the phone, when I do ask them, oh, can you tell me a little bit about Jenny, her work ethic, her demeanor? And they say, oh, Jenny's really high energy. She's really committed. You know, she's very trustworthy. I'll say, hey, well, it seems like, you know, you may have answered my next question. You know, we work in the financial services industry. So that means Jenny will be sitting with families and helping them, teach them financial education. So she may be handling large sums of money. Do you feel that she has a high degree of integrity? They say yes. I start explaining a little bit about how her field training is going to go. They say yes to field training. And at the end, once I get their phone number, once I get their email to book the QA, I say thank you so much, Joel, for putting in time for Jenny. I know that's just your sister, but we want to be able to make sure that she can make a lot of her mistakes with people that know she's not in training yet. So we really want to thank you, and we do hope that you get a lot out of your time as far as at least learning something financially for yourself too. Do you have any last questions or comments to leave for about Jenny before I let you go today? Okay, great. Now that little line that I mentioned, I hope that you really learned something for yourself or get something out of your time for the trade-off of your time. That's just something I added, and I feel that a lot of the people that have been responding now on the phone, they get really excited to get on the phone because they know that this is for training, but now they feel like they're getting something for themselves. When you go through the QA, guys, rapport building with questions and transitions is going to be your key here. It's not just rapport building. You can talk a lot and they can like you, but they're still not going to do business with you. You have to be able to ask those questions to lead them and transition. Make sure that presentation is just like a conversation to have. But remember, you're never going to be good without experience. You don't get experience from not doing anything. You get experience from experience, like Shaq always told us. And you have to be willing to be bad first before you're good, and good first before you're great. And when we ask questions, those quality of the questions we ask will determine the quality of the answers we get on top of that data that we're collecting so that we can overcome any objections that may come up later. All of this builds up to the close. At the end of the day, though, how did Shug learn all of this? It wasn't all from me. Yes, I was her trainer, but no, it wasn't all me. She took it upon herself to invest in and internalize that book, How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. It's not just invest and buy the book, it's internalize. Shug, you want to add anything before we move forward?
Yeah, so when you think about questions, right, my main thing is before I go to each slide, when I'm doing the presentation, I'm always asking a question, because remember, whoever's asking the most questions is controlling the conversation, and you want to show your recruit how to control a conversation, because once they learn the art of controlling the conversation and asking questions, then they're going to have more confidence when they go out in the field, right? And so when I'm on the phone, just like when what Jen said, when I'm making that appointment with them, I'm planting seeds there. Like I'm already planting my seeds on the phone with the potential client, with the field training appointment, so they can already know things that I'm going to ask for. Like I'll let them know then on the phone that I'm going to ask for some referrals, right? I'm helping them build their book of business, and I just want you to ask a lot of questions, because whatever questions you may have for them, they're going to see the same out in the field. So it's important for them to see me answer it so they can know, you know, how to respond to those kind of questions. Does that sound fair enough? You see how I ended it with a question, because I don't want you asking me another question, right? Does that sound fair enough? And they say, yes, absolutely. Get their email, and then and that's it, right? But I've already planted that referral seed, so I'm going to end up doing it again.
Good. I'm talking about seeds. Let's talk about what seeds we're going to plant. Shug already gave one of those to you, so don't get the question wrong, guys. So let's start with the first slide. We're going to go into not every single slide detail to detail, because some of the slides are just kind of straightforward. Most of them, Shug and I do present very similar. We may ask certain questions that may be different. The point again is to make sure we get the answers that we want, right? So the first part is, again, opening up the presentation. How you start, right, is that they're going to determine, and how you finish is how you're going to determine how you're going to close, or if you're even going to close. So when you take a look at this slide here, excitement, value, partnership. I like to call this the trainer slide, because the trainers are the ones who really know how to set the tone, and eventually, of course, you teach your new recruit. But each of these words are going to throw a certain seed. You throw the seeds out, water it throughout the presentation, they start to grow, and you close. So Shug gets the opportunity and the honor to call on some individuals. So when you talk about excitement, value, partnership, before we transition to the next slide, what are these seeds? What are these seeds that we're throwing? Because we want to collect certain things at the end.
All right. Okay. So let me see. Sarah, what's the first seed that we plant with excitement?
Excitement is give me a second.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an example then. While you think, I'm gonna give an example. Somebody needs to put themselves on mute. I kind of hear like a feedback thing. I don't know if everybody else hears that. But okay, so while you're thinking about that, when we open it up, I'm saying this. Now, typically when I do this, when I give this information, people get either one or all three things out of it. People get really excited. And they're like, and I'm like, and they're thinking, oh, my best friend can definitely benefit from hearing this information. Maybe your coworker, a cousin, and whoever you think of that can benefit from this information. All I ask is at the end, if you can, and I'm not going to finish. What kind of seed is that?
Give referrals.
Yes. Yes. So that is the referral seed, right? So we're planting the seed right there in the beginning, and I'm letting them know that you're going to get excited. And then I'm telling them who to think of. You're going to get excited. People typically get excited. And I want you to think of, and now I'm naming people. So at the end, right, I know I'm going to get some referrals because I already told you who to think about. And then I ask this exact statement, you know, you're going to get excited. I want you to think about coworkers, best friends. And at the end, it's my job to help Sarah build her book of business. So if you can give her those names and numbers at the end, we'll greatly appreciate it. Does that sound fair enough? And they say yes, right? So then we go to the value side. Let me see. What seed are we planting with the value? Jenny. Blank seed. So they don't hit you with, I thought this was just for training. What seed is this? You're on mute, Jenny. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that one too. That's what I was trying to read.
Ooh, okay.
Value. All I could think about is business.
Okay, this is good though, Jenny. I'm glad you said
Yeah.
you were thinking about this. So I'm gonna give you an example and you tell me what you think after that, okay? So if I said the first thing was excitement, the second thing is value. Now you may see value for yourself, and if this is you, we would love to earn your business the right way. What seed is that? I would love to earn your business the right way.
Trust.
Close. We can phone a friend, not so much trust. You do want to have trust, but a client seed. You're letting them know they may see
Right.
value for themselves from the content that you're giving. So if
Right.
this is them, we would love to earn their business the right way. And so at the end of that, I always say we would love to earn your business the right way. So please ask questions, because that's what I'm here to provide as much information as possible. Right? Because it's kind of like a give and take. I don't want them to know that I'm going directly at them, but I'm here if you do see value. Okay, and then let's go with partnership seed.
Sorry, Shug, I muted you by accident after you said partnership.
It's okay. It's okay. Gabe and Tanya, either or. Partnership seed. I think I kind of gave that one away, to be honest.
Gabe and Tanya just asked you to unmute.
It's okay. I think I kind of gave this one away, so I'm gonna have to give them a different one because I said partnership seed. So the last one is partnership seed, right? The last one is partnership. So you let them know, and this is how I said, look, we're an essential business, and right now in the light of the pandemic, people have literally been zeroing in on their finances. I know this may not be you, but you definitely may know somebody that's looking for something part-time or full-time. Right, so I'm letting them know that it may be them, but it may not be them as well. And I'm planning that partnership seed. Now, let them know that I'm going to ask about them at the end. I'm going to ask about the partnership seed at the end. Now, the transition to go from one slide to another slide is important for you to have a transition statement. Okay, and so what we always ask for that transition statement is, have you ever, if you don't mind me asking, and I always say that first before I even say this, I say, if you don't mind me asking, have you ever had any financial work done in the past or before? It doesn't matter what they say, guys. You don't really want to say, go down like a long path. You want to make it sweet and quick. Whatever they say, I always say, awesome, this is going to be a great experience for all of us. So if they say yes, if they say no, it's still going to be a great experience for all of us.
All right, financial challenges. So this slide, we're gonna actually make some adjustments pretty soon from what Thomas had said, so just get ready, guys. But the best recruiters, best builders, best producers, they're the ones that make the most adjustments. So quickly. So when we're talking about this slide, look at this. There's a bunch of statistics going on, and they're all pretty depressing. So let's take a wild guess what we're trying to do on this slide. So Shug, go ahead, take the floor.
So right now with these facts, when we go into this, we are stating the current reality, right? We have to show the nightmare first, and then we want to paint the dream later on. But people have to realize what's really going on. And so the first thing that we do is we started off with a question. When you look at the world, do you think most families are doing good or not so good financially? And this is before we even read the stats, and this is before we even show the stats, because we want to know where they're coming from, right? Where's their mindset on finances overall? And then we let, everything go down. Now, with me personally, when I'm training somebody, I have them read that, because they have to get into the art of and the practicing of presenting words, reading off a screen, having a natural flow. So let's practice. Let's just read some stats. So I always have my guys, when I don't care if it's their first day, I let them know beforehand they're reading those stats, right? And then at the end of they read the stats, I always, I practice with them beforehand, and I let them know, I say, hey, so what are the two things, the two main things we tell our families that we need to plan for in life financially? And my recruit says, now I'm going to ask somebody this before I even give it away, okay? You have majority of it there, but what do you, and this is the main two things that we teach, okay? We protect you from blank too soon and blank too long, okay? Let me go with Hoel.
Yes, ma'am.
Fill in the blank for that. We protect you from blank too soon and blank too long.
Dying too soon and living too long.
Absolutely, right?
Great job.
And the way that I say that, and I paint the picture of it, because the thing is, you want to let them know right in the beginning, what is the main things that you're going to be talking about and what we help with. We help with insurance and we help with investments. So we just let them know, We protect you, make sure if you die too soon, if you live too long. Because remember, you don't want to outlive your money. Make sure your family's taken care of, but make sure that you're taken care of too. And that right there, that statement hits on several personality styles, because an R thinks more of their family, right? But an S and a T, they want to make sure that they're financially good. So we hit both sides. Make sure your family's taken care of, but make sure that you're taken care of too.
Great job. So if you guys look at the questions that we're asking here, why are we doing this? So I'm going to break down what Shug just did. The beginning question, why do we ask that? We want to see what they're thinking, really what's going in the world. I was just talking to somebody the other day. Some people really live in a bubble, guys. Like, they really don't think people are struggling right now. They really think that COVID is not even existent. They really think that people are doing the best, right? Few people will say, oh no, people are doing good. But if you get that few people, you know, the whole presentation, it may be a little bit of a push. You may have to kind of climb up a mountain a little bit if that person goes, oh no, people are good. Or if they say something along the lines of, I don't really look at everybody else's finances. I mean, I think they're doing good. If you get any response like that, you may have to have a yellow light right on your street right there. It's not a green light, guys, but you're still going to keep presenting. Now, a couple of the things here. We want to, how many people do we ever present to when we talk about protection where they don't really understand full coverage for their family? They don't understand income protection. They just think GoFundMe, funeral coverage, right? When we talk about life insurance. But when we talk about other insurances, people think about maybe car insurance. Don't they think about full coverage, guys? So when right after the credit card debt stat, the average U.S. household credit card carries a credit card balance. The average U.S. household carries a credit card balance of $16,000, Sarah. But those are just bills. We haven't even talked about other types of bills that are like, let's say insurance, let's say medical insurance, home insurance, maybe car insurance. We all know what it means to have full coverage, right? And they say yes. But the average life insurance coverage gap is $495,000 per household. What are we saying when we say that? Well, shoot, I'm covering my car, but I'm not covering my family. I'm not telling them they're not covering their family. We're going to ask them and they're going to realize for themselves. And at the end, on top of that, 45% of Americans say they have less than $25,000 in savings and investments put away for retirement. I ask, that may not be you, but you may know people like that, don't you? What is that called? That's a question. What kind of question is that? Everybody who's in our drill for skill, let me see. Let me pick on somebody real quick. Cheryl.
Tie down.
Tie down question. Good job, Cheryl. Awesome. Tie down question. A question is a tie down when it's you're forcing them basically to agree with you in a sense, and you're going to get that minor yes, we call it. Why am I asking the question like that at that point? Well, how many people do we present to and they already have, kind of like a brick mentality? They may not be a brick, but they're just like, I don't want you to be in my finances, right? At least not yet. And they may be a little bit closed. They may be thinking, oh no, that's not me, right? Oh no, I'm gonna agree with you, honey. That's not you, but you may know people like that, don't you? I'm not saying it like that, but I'm saying it with that mentality, right? So sure, that may not be you, but you may know people like that, don't you? Every time, yeah. Or if you get somebody who's really open, oh no, that's me. I need help. Like, I'm excited about this. So those are good. Those are good signs, guys. And so she talked about how she has the recruit or the trainee tell the potential client, we protect you from blank too soon, blank too long, dying too soon, living too long. Because what does that do? It sets the tone for when you're teaching them what we teach at the end. It just ties the front to the back together. Good job. Let's talk about current reality. So this ties into the stat. This is not the very next slide, guys. So we're just jumping to certain slides here. And Shug does a really phenomenal job with this slide, asking questions to the client. Go ahead, Shug.
So with this slide right here, I set this tone still, just letting them know, reiterating what we talked about earlier. Like you said earlier, and I say that people are more lost financially than ever. A lot of people are losing their faith in banks, insurance companies, financial institutions, and banks. Oh, I already said banks. And then after that, I just let them know, I ask them a question and I say, now I learned a new stat. I was saying 6 billion. I found out last night it's actually 11. right? So what I say is, I
It's
know
12.
12, oh, look, right? Okay, now it's 12, now I got it, right? So what I asked him, I say, look, I know last year, America's top 3 biggest banks are more than $12 billion just from ATM and overdraft fees. Now, Jenny, if somebody is overdrafting, what does that mean they don't have? Now, I asked them that question to get a response because they're going to say they don't have any money. And I say, exactly. So they're charging people who don't have money more money and just keeping them stuck in this cycle, right? Because people literally see their, so when you're on Zoom, this is my most important thing. When you're on Zoom, you want to constantly paint the pictures in people's minds, right? Because the relationship and the energy is different. You're not at the kitchen table. You're not in their house. You're over a screen. So you want to try to create that intimacy mentally for them as much as possible. So people feel like they're in a rat race. They're stuck in a cycle. They're living that Monday to Friday, trying to live the most like they can in the weekend. So I let them know and I reiterate it. So they charge people money who already don't have money and they keep them stuck in this cycle. Now we're going to play a word game. Okay, now tell me what 3 banks you think that was, right? And whatever they're saying, I'm saying absolutely number 1. Number 2, I mean, I do want them to say the right answers and I do tell them the right answers, but you have to understand, you have to break it up when you're presenting information. You can't just give a whole bunch of information and not ask questions and get them engaged, because we're over the screen, people's attention is going to start diverting and going away. So to keep them engaged, you want to keep asking questions. And then I go to Primerica, we have the answers, right? We bring high tech and high touch. A lot of companies right now are just high tech, but we bring high touch. And I say that, what are your top 3 financial goals right now? Because a goal is a goal because it's uncharted water. You've never been there before. So I want to know what their main 3 goals are right now. So when I'm presenting the rest of my information, I can tailor it towards what I already know. Right? So they're going to tell me, I want to get out of debt. I want to save more money. I want to have some money for my children, whatever they say, right? Now I take one of them and I isolate it really quickly so I can show them the potential, our potential of working with each other, like what we can offer to them. So I say, what's your top 3 financial goals? They give me those goals. And I say, okay, the same thing that we're going to do with the clients that you refer to Jen. You see how I said that? I'm letting them know that you're going to give me referrals. So when you do give me referrals, what we're going to do with those people is we're just going to get them from point A to point B. We're just going to quantify. Like I know you said you want to save money, right? How much and by when? And they don't know. They don't really have a goal of how much and by when. So I say, okay, by next year, this time next year, how much money do you want to have? And they typically say $10,000, right? And I quickly just bring out my calculator, show it on my screen. I say, okay, 10,000 divided by 12, 833. I don't want you to look at the whole brick wall. Look at it brick by brick, right? Look at it small chunks. What does it look like daily for you? Only thing I do is take that $833 divided by 30. Let's say it's 30 days in a month. And now we're at 27. Now they think in their mind, I want to save $10,000 in a year. I don't know how, but that's what my goal is. And I break it down to them that you just need $27 a day. And they're like, whoa, you just did that in like less than a minute in their mind. And now they see our potential. So when I transition from this statement of asking their 3, their 3 goals, and when you refer people to Jen, this is what we're going to do. I'm planting another seed. Now I'm watering the seed, right? I'm watering it at this point because we transition to the wheel. And when I open the wheel up, let me ask a question first. Because I feel like this slide is the most important. And I remember when I first started off, I used to kind of like breeze by. These are all the companies that we work with. Do you recognize any of these companies? And I just go by. But I want to know, like, how are you guys doing this slide? And I'm gonna tell you what I do so I can plant more seeds to get more referrals, because referrals is everything, right? Let me see. Cheryl, how do you do this slide?
Mr. Miss Quiet, which of these companies do you recognize? And I wait for their answer. These are some of the companies that we partner with, which you may have heard of. You've heard of Lincoln Financial? Okay, great. How have you heard of them? Right, okay, maybe some commercials. Well, Lincoln is one of the companies that we partner with, and they help create unique products for the families that we serve. However, they know that they can't compete with us one-on-one because they only have 5,000 reps, whereas Merck we have over 100,000. So they create a unique product for us with the same great quality. And when we refer a family to them, then they pay our representatives on the back end. So it's a win-win situation. Additionally, you may see other products we help families with, for example, 401k, annuities, mutual funds for retirement, legal protection, because you know how there's a lot of stuff going on with the internet these days. People with ID protection, we have people with mortgages, as well as event for security and auto and home. So we try to help families with a variety of solutions. Have you ever gone to Walmart, Mr. and Mrs. Client? And I would say, yeah. So I ask, do you buy one thing or more than one thing from Walmart? And they say usually more than one thing. Why is that? Because